My name is Olivia Sterling. I'm 28 years old. 13 years ago, on a stormy October night, my father looked me in the eye and said, "Get out. I don't need a sick daughter like you." I was 15, soaking wet with nowhere to go. The reason? My younger sister told a lie. A calculated, deliberate lie that my parents believed without question. And just like that, I was erased. 3 hours later, police called them to the hospital. I'd been hit by a car. When Dad walked into that hospital room and saw who was sitting by my bed, his hands wouldn't stop shaking. You can't be here. How did you—" The woman sitting there was Dr. Eleanor Smith, one of the most respected professors in the state. She'd found me on the side of the road and saved my life. That night changed everything. Last month, I stood on stage at my sister's graduation ceremony as the keynote speaker. My parents had no idea I was coming. Before I tell you what happened when they saw me, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this story. Also, I'd love to know where you're watching from and what time it is there. Drop a comment below. Now, let me take you back to where it all started. I learned early that in our house, Madison's tears were louder than my achievements. When I was 11, I won first place at the regional science fair. My project on water filtration systems beat out 40 other students. I was so proud. I ran home with the blue ribbon clutched in my hand, burst through the door, and found Mom in the kitchen. "I won!" I shouted. She smiled, hugged me. "That's wonderful, sweetheart." Then Madison walked in from dance practice, 8 years old, face red, tears streaming. I messed up my pirouette. Everyone laughed at me. Mom's arms left me. She knelt down, pulled Madison close. "Oh, baby, it's okay. You'll do better next time." I stood there holding my ribbon. Nobody asked to see it. That was the pattern. Madison needed more attention. Madison was sensitive. Madison required careful handling. I learned to celebrate quietly, to need less, to take up less space. By the time I was 14, I'd stopped showing them my report cards. Straight A's didn't compete with Madison's B- drama. When I got accepted into the prestigious summer science camp, I was thrilled. Full scholarship. 2 weeks studying environmental science with actual researchers. Dad looked up from his phone. "That's nice, Olivia." Madison burst into tears. "Why does she get to go away? That's not fair." Mom squeezed Madison's shoulder. "Olivia, maybe you could skip it this year. Your sister needs—" "I need you here," Madison finished. I didn't go to the camp. They said it was about family unity, about being understanding, about being the bigger person. I learned to be small, quiet, undemanding. But the breaking point was coming. I just didn't know it would arrive in a storm. The lying started small. Madison, 12 years old now, would borrow my things without asking. When I'd mention it, gently, always gently, she'd deny it. "I never touched your sweater," even when it was literally on her bed. Mom would sigh. "Olivia, don't start fights." Then money went missing from Mom's wallet. $50. Madison said she saw me near Mom's purse that morning. I hadn't been. I'd left for school early. Dad called me into his study. "Did you take money from your mother?" "No, I didn't." "Madison says you did." "Madison's lying." His jaw tightened. "Don't accuse your sister." "But I didn't." "Enough!" His voice cut through mine. "I'm disappointed in you, Olivia. I thought you were better than this." I lost my phone for a month, and the science camp opportunity I'd been promised for the following summer, gone. "We can't trust you with independence right now," Mom said. Madison watched from the stairs. When our parents weren't looking, she smiled. That stolen $50 was just a test run. Madison was learning she could get away with anything. The pattern escalated. A broken vase, my fault. A failed test Madison didn't study for. I should have helped her more. A rumor at school about Madison cheating on a quiz, I must have started. I stopped defending myself. What was the point? They believed her tears over my truth every single time. By 15, I felt like a ghost in my own house. Present but invisible. There unless they needed someone to blame. I started spending more time at the library, at school, anywhere but home. I told myself I just needed to survive until college. 2 more years. I could make it 2 more years. I was wrong. October. Junior year. Everything felt heavy that week. There was a boy at school named Jake. He was in my AP chemistry class. Nice guy. Terrible at balancing equations. He'd asked me for help a few times, and I'd stayed after class to explain stoichiometry. That was it. Just homework help. Madison had a crush on him. Massive, obsessive crush. She'd walk past my classroom just to see him. She'd practiced writing Madison Sterling Walker in her diary. I'd seen it once when I went to return her borrowed pen. On Tuesday, Jake caught me at my locker. "Hey, thanks for the help yesterday. You really saved me." I smiled. "No problem. Maybe we could study together sometime? For the midterm?" "Sure. Library works." "Cool." He walked away. I turned and saw Madison 20 feet down the hall, staring, her face pale. That night at dinner, she barely spoke, just pushed food around her plate. Mom kept asking if she felt okay. Madison would shrug, say nothing. I should have known silence from her was more dangerous than her tears. On Thursday, I had a visiting lecturer in my biology class, Dr. Eleanor Smith from the State University. She was talking about educational equity research. I stayed after to ask questions. She seemed impressed. "You have a curious mind," she said, handing me her card. "Don't let anyone dim that light." I smiled, thanked her, had no idea she would save my life a week later. That Friday, the storm warnings started. Big one coming, everyone was preparing, stocking up, battening down. Madison still wasn't talking to me, wouldn't even look at me. I remember thinking, at least I'll have the weekend to catch up on homework in peace. I had no idea what she was planning. Friday night. The rain started around 6. We ate dinner in near silence. The weather alert kept buzzing on Dad's phone. Wind advisories, flood warnings. Everyone was tense. Madison picked at her pasta. I could feel her watching me. When I glanced up, she'd look away. After dinner, I went to my room, started my English homework. Outside, the wind was picking up, rain hammering the windows, the kind of storm where you're grateful to be inside. Around 8, I heard crying downstairs. Madison, loud, heaving sobs. I froze, put down my pen, listened. Mom's voice, soothing. "Sweetheart, what's wrong? Talk to me." More crying. I waited. Maybe she'd twisted her ankle. Maybe she'd failed another test. Maybe... "Olivia!" Dad's voice, sharp, angry. "Get down here, now!" My stomach dropped. I walked downstairs slowly. Each step felt heavy. Madison was on the couch, face buried in Mom's shoulder. Mom was stroking her hair. Dad stood by the fireplace, arms crossed, face red. "What's going on?" I asked. Madison looked up, eyes swollen, tears streaming. She looked at me, and for just a second, less than a second, I saw something else behind those tears, something cold. Then it was gone. "Tell her what you told us," Dad said. His voice was ice. Madison's lip trembled. "Why do you hate me so much?" "What?" I stepped closer. "I don't hate you." "Then why?" She hiccuped, sobbed. "Why have you been spreading rumors about me at school?" My mind went blank. What rumors? About me and Jake? About me cheating on that quiz? About me being a liar? The floor tilted. "Madison, I never—" "Don't lie to her," Mom said quietly. "Just don't." I didn't know what she was talking about, but I was about to find out, and it would cost me everything. "I didn't spread any rumors," I said. My voice shook. "I don't know what you're talking about." Madison pulled out her phone, hands trembling. Then explain this. She showed Mom a screenshot, some group chat, messages I'd supposedly sent, vicious stuff about Madison, things I would never say. But there was my name, my profile picture. I didn't write those, I said. Someone's using my account. Stop. Dad's voice cracked like thunder. Just stop lying. I'm not. And Jake, Madison whispered. You knew I liked him. But you've been flirting with him, trying to make me look stupid. He asked me for help with chemistry. That's all. That's all? Madison's voice rose. You've been staying after class with him, meeting him at the library. He told his friend he thinks you're pretty. We're study partners. You tried to steal him from me. Madison was standing now. And last week you pushed me on the stairs. Look, she pulled up her sleeve, a bruise on her forearm, dark purple. I stared. I never touched you. You did, Mom. She did. I didn't want to say anything because I thought maybe she was just stressed, but Mom stood up, moved between us. Olivia, this is serious. If you hurt your sister, I didn't. Then how did she get that bruise? Dad demanded. I don't know. Maybe she did it herself. The words hung in the air. Madison's eyes went wide, fresh tears. You think I'd hurt myself? Just to frame you? Yes, I was shouting now, desperate. Yes, because you do this. You lie. You've been lying about me for years. Dad took a step toward me. Is this true, Olivia? You've been bullying your sister? Making her life miserable? No. God, no. Please just listen. I've heard enough. Enough! Dad's fist slammed on the mantel. I've heard enough of your excuses. They're not excuses. Please just let me explain. There's nothing to explain. Mom's voice was quiet, disappointed. I thought we raised you better than this. Madison sobbed into her hands, the perfect picture of a victim. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for a moment she looked back. And she wasn't crying anymore. Her eyes were dry, calculating. You're lying, I said, barely a whisper. I'm not, she said, and her voice didn't shake. You are. You made all of this up. Olivia, Mom started. She's lying. I turned to Dad. Please, you have to believe me. I would never hurt her. I would never spread rumors. She's doing this because she's jealous, because Jake doesn't like her, because... That's it. Dad's voice went cold, flat. I don't want to hear another word from you. You're sick. Something's wrong with you. The word hit like a slap. Sick. I'm not... You need help. Professional help. But right now... He pointed to the door. Right now, I need you out of my sight. The rain was pounding outside. Thunder shook the windows. Dad, it's storming. I don't care. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem. His face twisted. Get out. I don't need a sick daughter like you in this house. The words carved into me. Sick daughter, like I was diseased, broken, wrong. I looked at Mom, begging silently. Say something. Stop him. Tell him this is insane. She turned away, kept her arm around Madison. I grabbed my jacket from the hook. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely zip it. The door slammed behind me. Through the window, I could see Madison watching me leave. She wasn't crying anymore. She was smiling. The rain hit me like a wall, cold, angry. Within seconds, I was soaked through. I stood on the porch for a moment, waiting. Maybe Dad would come after me, apologize, say he'd overreacted. The door stayed closed. I started walking. Nowhere to go, just away. Away from that house, away from Madison's lies, away from parents who believed I was sick. My phone buzzed. Low battery, 8%. I pulled it out, tried calling my friend Sarah. No answer. Jessica, straight to voicemail. It was Friday night. Everyone was home with their families. Safe, dry, not me. The wind whipped my hair into my face, Rain came down in sheets. I could barely see 10 feet ahead. Cars drove past, spraying water from puddles. No one stopped. I headed toward the library. Maybe I could wait out the storm there. It was closed. Dark windows, locked doors. The bus station was 2 miles away. If I could make it there, I could sit inside, stay warm, figure out what to do. I walked. Every step was heavy. My shoes were soaked through, water squelching with each footfall. My jacket clung to my skin. I was so cold my teeth chattered. Thunder cracked overhead. Lightning split the sky. I thought about turning back, knocking on the door, begging to come home. But the look on Dad's face, the disgust, I couldn't unsee it. Sick daughter. Maybe he was right. Maybe something was wrong with me. Why else would my own family choose Madison over me every single time? The bus station was still a mile away. The rain got heavier, the wind stronger. I didn't see the headlights until it was almost too late. I was crossing at an intersection. The light was green, I'm sure it was green, but the rain was coming down so hard and the wind was howling and I couldn't see clearly. The car came out of nowhere. Headlights, bright and blinding, a horn blaring, brakes screeching. I tried to jump back, wasn't fast enough. The impact threw me sideways. I felt my body hit the hood, then the pavement, hard. My head cracked against the asphalt. Pain exploded through my skull, white-hot and all-consuming. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Rain poured into my mouth, my eyes. Everything was sideways, wrong. I heard a car door slam, footsteps running, splashing through water. Oh my God, oh my God. A woman's voice, panicked. Sweetheart, can you hear me? I tried to answer, nothing came out. Don't move, just stay still. I'm calling 911. Her hands were on my shoulder, gentle. Stay with me, okay? What's your name? I blinked, tried to focus. Her face was blurry, dark hair, rain streaming down her cheeks. She looked familiar. Had I seen her before? My parents, I managed. My voice was barely a whisper. Your parents. Okay. What's their number? I'll call them. They don't... I coughed, tasted blood. They don't want me. Her face changed. What? They kicked me out. The words felt heavy. Said I'm sick, don't want me anymore. She stared at me, rain pouring down between us. I saw something shift in her expression. Recognition, maybe. Or horror. You're going to be okay, she said. But her voice shook. I promise, you're going to be okay. Sirens in the distance, getting closer. The woman's face was the last thing I saw before everything went black. I don't remember the ambulance. Don't remember arriving at the hospital. My first clear memory is sound. Beeping machines, fluorescent lights buzzing, the smell of antiseptic. And a voice. The woman from the accident. She has a severe concussion, possible internal bleeding. You need to keep her for observation. I tried to open my eyes, too heavy. Everything hurt. I'm staying. That same voice, firm now, not panicked anymore. I'm not leaving her alone. Ma'am, are you family? I'm the one who hit her with my car. I'm staying until her parents arrive. Time passed. I drifted in and out. Voices came and went. At some point I heard new voices, familiar ones. We're Olivia Sterling's parents. Dad. He sounded strained. Mr. and Mrs. Sterling. The woman's voice again, cold now, professional. I'm Dr. Eleanor Smith. A pause, recognition clicking. You're a professor at the State University, Mom said. I am. Dean of Graduate Studies, actually. Her tone could cut glass. I'm the one who hit your daughter with my car tonight. It was an accident, Dad said quickly. We don't blame... She ran across the road in the middle of a storm. She was soaking wet. Alone. At night. Dr. Smith's voice rose. She was 15 years old. Why was she out there? Silence. Mr. Sterling? I asked you a question. We had a family situation, a discipline issue. A discipline issue, Dr. Smith repeated the words slowly. What kind of discipline issue involves putting a child out in a storm? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Because your daughter told me something before she lost consciousness. She said her parents didn't want her anymore. She said you told her she was sick. More silence. You're lying, Madison's voice. Small, scared. Olivia's making that up. She was barely conscious. She wasn't making anything up. I heard footsteps, someone walking away from my bed. Dr. Smith's voice, further now. I need to speak with a social worker. Now. That won't be necessary. Dad's voice, trying to sound authoritative, failing. We're her parents. We'll handle this from here. With all due respect, sir, you've handled it enough. This is a private family matter. The moment you sent a minor out in a storm, it stopped being private. Dr. Smith's footsteps came back. I felt her hand on mine, warm, protective. I'm not leaving until I know she's safe. A different voice now. A police officer. Mr. Sterling, we need to ask some questions. We haven't done anything wrong, Mom said, but her voice was shaking. Your daughter was hit by a car at 11 p.m. in a major storm. She's 15 years old. We need to understand why she wasn't home. I tried to open my eyes, managed to flutter them. Everything was blurry, shapes moving. I saw Dad's silhouette, Madison behind him. Dr. Smith noticed. She's waking up, everyone out now. She's our daughter, Dad started. And I'm the doctor in this room. Out. Footsteps, voices fading. The door closed. I felt Dr. Smith lean closer. Her hand squeezed mine gently. You're safe now, she whispered. I promise. You're safe. I wanted to believe her, but safe was a foreign word. I hadn't felt safe in years. I closed my eyes again. Let the darkness take me. When I woke up 3 days later, my parents were gone. Dr. Smith was still there. She'd kept her promise. She hadn't left me alone. The concussion was severe. I spent 4 days in the hospital. Dr. Smith came every day, brought books, sat by my bed, talked to me about college, about science, about futures I'd never imagined. My parents visited once, brought a bag of clothes, some schoolwork. They stood at the foot of my bed, uncomfortable, strangers in hospital scrubs. We're glad you're okay, Mom said. Dad nodded. You gave us quite a scare. Neither said sorry, neither explained, neither asked if I wanted to come home. Madison didn't come at all. On day 5, a social worker came. Her name was Rita. She had kind eyes and asked questions in a gentle voice about my home, my family, what happened that night. I told her everything, Madison's lies, my parents choosing her, the words, sick daughter. Rita listened, took notes. Olivia, you have options. You don't have to go back. Where else would I go? Dr. Smith knocked on the door, stepped in. She could stay with me. I stared at her. What? Foster placement, temporary until we figure out something permanent, if you want. She looked at Rita. I've already started the paperwork. Why would you do that? My voice cracked. You don't even know me. Dr. Smith sat on the edge of my bed. Because someone once did it for me. When I was 17, my family kicked me out. A teacher took me in, changed my life. She touched my hand. You're brilliant, Olivia. You have potential most kids never dream of. Don't let anyone tell you you're sick. Don't let anyone dim that light. I started crying. Couldn't help it. I'll understand if you want to go home, Dr. Smith said softly. But if you want something different, I'm here. I made my decision in that hospital room. I chose different. 6 months later, I was a different person. Same name, different life. Dr. Smith's house was quiet, organized, full of books and plants and soft classical music. She gave me the guest room, said I could decorate however I wanted. I transferred schools, started fresh. No one knew about Madison, about my parents, about being the sick daughter. I was just Olivia. Smart. Focused. Finally free to breathe. Dr. Smith, Eleanor, she insisted I call her, exposed me to a world I'd never seen. University lectures, research symposiums, dinners with professors discussing policy and equity and change. Education is freedom, she'd say. Knowledge is power. No one can take that from you. I threw myself into school. Straight A's weren't just grades anymore. They were proof. Proof I wasn't sick, wasn't broken, wasn't wrong. Eleanor taught me about grant writing, about scholarships, about systems that help kids like me, kids from difficult situations, kids who need a second chance. You're going to do something important someday, she told me once. We were having dinner. Pasta and salad. Normal. Safe. I can see it. I thought about my old family sometimes. Wondered if Madison ever told them the truth. If Dad ever regretted those words. If Mom ever stood up for me. But mostly, I didn't think about them at all. I heard things through mutual friends. Madison was doing fine. Still the golden child. Still the center of attention. My parents had removed all my photos from the house, like I'd never existed. Good, I thought. Let them erase me. I'm building something better. By my senior year, I had a plan. College, major in education policy, build something that would help kids who fall through the cracks, kids whose families fail them. I was going to turn my pain into purpose. College was a blur of study sessions and late nights and slowly learning to trust again. I got a full scholarship to a prestigious university. Eleanor's recommendation letter was glowing. I majored in education policy and social justice, minored in psychology. I wanted to understand systems, why some kids got help and others fell through cracks wide enough to swallow them whole. Summers, I interned at nonprofits, grant writing organizations, youth advocacy groups. I learned how money moved, how programs started, how to turn empathy into action. I graduated summa cum laude. Eleanor cried at my ceremony. I'm so proud of you, she whispered. So incredibly proud. I got hired immediately as a research coordinator at a university education department. Eleanor's university, actually. Different building, professional distance, but still connected. At 25, I had an idea. A scholarship program for students from difficult family situations. Kids who'd been kicked out, abused, neglected. Kids who needed a second chance. I called it the Second Chances Scholarship. Original, I know, but clear. Eleanor helped me write the grant proposals. We secured funding from 3 organizations, launched the program at 1 university as a pilot, then 2 universities, then 5. By the time I was 27, we'd awarded over $200,000 in scholarships, helped 47 students stay in school, stay alive, stay hopeful. Media started paying attention. Local newspapers, education journals. I gave interviews, spoke at conferences, always told my story, vaguely. A 15-year-old girl who was told she didn't belong. Never named names. One day, my colleague David Brooks knocked on my office door. Olivia, you're being considered for keynote speaker at a graduation ceremony. Which university? Riverside State University. My stomach dropped. I stopped. Breathed. That's my sister's school. David blinked. You have a sister? Not anymore, I said quietly. But yes, she graduates this spring. David sat down. Do you want me to decline on your behalf? I stared at my desk, my hands, the scholarship applications stacked in neat piles, 47 students, 47 second chances. What's the theme? I asked. Resilience and educational equity. President Walsh specifically requested you. said your work embodies everything the ceremony should represent. My work, the scholarship program born from being thrown away, from being called sick. Would I have to... I paused. Would I have creative control over my speech? Complete control. They just want you there. I thought about Madison, sitting in her cap and gown, smiling, probably bragging about her perfect family, her supportive parents, her only child status. I thought about my parents in the audience, proud, oblivious, still believing they'd made the right choice 13 years ago. I thought about standing on that stage, telling my story, not for revenge, for closure. I need to talk to Eleanor, I said. That night, over dinner, I laid it out. They have no idea I exist in this capacity, no idea I built this. They probably think I'm dead or homeless or... I stopped. I don't know what they think. Eleanor set down her fork. What do you want to happen? I want to close the chapter properly, not with anger, with truth. And if they're hurt? They hurt me first. I met her eyes. I'm not doing this for revenge. I'm doing this because my story matters. Because showing them who I became despite them, that's not vindictive. That's honest. Eleanor reached across the table, squeezed my hand. Then do it. On your terms, with your head held high. Show them who you are now. I called David the next morning. Tell President Walsh I accept. I didn't see Madison in person, but I heard things, saw things. Social media makes ghosts visible. She posted constantly. Her senior year was documented in filtered photos and carefully curated captions, brunches with friends, study sessions that looked more like photo shoots, the perfect college experience. Can't believe I'm graduating in 2 months, one caption read. So grateful for my parents who supported me every step of the way. Hatch blessed # family first. The comments poured in. You're amazing. So proud of you. Your parents raised you right. I scrolled through her profile once. Just once. Morbid curiosity. There were no photos of me, no mentions of a sister. In her digital universe, I'd never existed. One post caught my attention. Madison at dinner with our parents. Big smiles, wine glasses raised. Celebrating my graduation with the 2 best people in the world. Love you, Mom and Dad. Dad looked older, gray at the temples. Mom looked tired, but they looked happy, proud. I closed the app. Through old acquaintances, people I'd known before the storm, I heard Madison was excited about graduation. Big ceremony. All her friends would be there. Her parents were throwing a party afterward. The keynote speaker is supposed to be really good, one friend posted in a group chat I was still accidentally part of. Some researcher who started a scholarship program. Should be inspiring. Madison had replied, Ugh, those speeches are always so boring, but whatever, it's my day. I smiled at that, took a screenshot, saved it. Not for revenge, just for proof that she had no idea. No clue what was about to happen. I wondered if she'd recognize me. 13 years was a long time. I'd changed, grown up, become someone else entirely. Guess we'd find out. I wrote my speech over 2 weeks, drafted, revised, cut, added, read it aloud to Eleanor a dozen times. Don't mention names, Eleanor advised. Tell the story. Let people connect the dots themselves. The speech opened with statistics, educational inequity, students who fall through systemic cracks. Then it shifted personal. At 15, I was told I didn't belong, that something was wrong with me, that I was too broken to keep. I practiced in front of the mirror, watched my face stay calm, composed, professional. But someone saw potential instead of problems. Someone gave me a second chance. And that changed everything. No tears, no anger, just facts, just truth. David arranged everything, parking, credentials, my name in the program. Olivia Sterling, director of Second Chance's scholarship program. The night before I couldn't sleep, Lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about Madison, about Dad's voice saying sick daughter, about Mom turning away. Was I doing this for the right reasons? Eleanor knocked softly, came in with tea, sat on the edge of my bed like she had 100 times before. Second thoughts? She asked. Just thoughts. You're not the girl they threw away, Olivia. You're the woman who built herself back up. Remember that tomorrow. I sipped the tea. Chamomile, honey. Will you be there? Front row, always. Morning came too fast. I dressed carefully, navy suit, professional but not stuffy. Eleanor's grandmother's pearl necklace. She'd insisted I borrow it. In the mirror, I looked confident. Successful, nothing like the soaked 15-year-old who'd been told she was sick. I was ready. The campus was beautiful. Old brick buildings, manicured lawns, students in caps and gowns everywhere, families taking photos, laughter, excitement. The air buzzed with possibility. I arrived early, met President Walsh in his office. He was warm, effusive. Ms. Sterling, we're honored to have you. Your work is extraordinary. Thank you, sir. The students will be inspired, I'm sure of it. David walked me to the auditorium. Backstage was controlled chaos. Faculty adjusting robes, staff checking microphones, graduates peeking through curtains at the filling seats. I looked at the program, scanned the graduate names. There, row 3. Madison Sterling, Bachelor of Arts Communications. My heart kicked against my ribs. You okay? David asked. Yes. I folded the program. Just ready. Eleanor arrived. She wore a beautiful emerald dress, looked proud. She hugged me tight. You've got this. I know. Remember. I know. I smiled. Head high, truth clear, no revenge, just honesty. She kissed my cheek, went to find her seat. The auditorium was filling. I could hear the murmur of voices. Hundreds of people, families, friends, all here to celebrate their graduates. Somewhere out there, my parents were sitting down, probably in the middle section. Good view, excited for Madison's big moment. They had no idea who the keynote speaker was. David had confirmed. The program listed my name, but buried in small print. Most people didn't read speaker bios carefully. They'd find out soon enough. President Walsh touched my shoulder. 5 minutes. You're on after the opening remarks. I nodded, breathed, smoothed my suit. From the wings, I could see the stage, the podium, the microphone, hundreds of faces beyond the lights. It was time. Wait. Before I tell you what happened when I stepped on that stage, I need to ask, have you ever been in a situation where your family doubted you, but you proved them wrong? Drop a yes or no in the comments, and if you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button. It really helps this story reach others who might need to hear it. Okay. Now, back to the ceremony. This is where everything changed. President Walsh stepped to the podium. The crowd quieted. Welcome, graduates, families, and honored guests. Today we celebrate achievement, resilience, and the boundless potential of our students. Applause. Cheers. Our keynote speaker embodies these values. She's dedicated her career to ensuring that every student, regardless of circumstance, has access to opportunity. Please welcome the director of the Second Chances Scholarship Program, Ms. Olivia Sterling. The auditorium erupted in polite applause. I stepped into the light. The stage was massive, podium centered, microphone waiting. Beyond the front row, faces blurred into a sea of caps and gowns. I walked with measured steps, confident, calm. My heels clicked against the stage floor. And then I saw them. Row 3, Madison, cap and gown, honor cords around her neck. She was clapping, smiling, turned halfway to whisper something to the girl beside her. Then she looked up, saw me. Her hands froze mid-clap. Her smile faltered. Confusion crossed her face. Then recognition. Then shock. Her mouth opened slightly. No sound came out. Behind her, row 8, Mom and Dad, still clapping, not looking closely yet, just polite audience members applauding a speaker whose name they hadn't registered. I reached the podium, adjusted the microphone, looked out over the crowd. Madison's face was pale, staring. Her friend nudged her. "You okay?" Eleanor sat front row, stage right. She nodded once, small, encouraging. I gripped the podium edges. "Good morning. Thank you, President Walsh, for that generous introduction." My voice carried, clear, strong, amplified across hundreds of people. Dad's head jerked up. I saw him lean forward, squint, trying to place my voice. Mom's hand went to her chest. I smiled, professional, warm. "It's an honor to be here today. Today, I want to talk about resilience, about what happens when you lose everything and find yourself anyway." The audience was quiet now, attentive. "Let me tell you about a 15-year-old girl." I kept my voice steady, conversational. She was told she didn't belong, that something was fundamentally wrong with her, that she was too broken to keep. Mom's hand gripped Dad's arm. I could see it even from the stage. One night, in the middle of a storm, she was put out, told to leave, told she wasn't wanted anymore. Whispers rippled through the crowd, uncomfortable shifting. She wandered alone in that storm for hours. No phone, no money, no place to go. She was hit by a car, nearly died. Madison had gone completely still, frozen. Her face was white. But someone stopped, someone helped, someone saw potential where everyone else saw problems. Eleanor's eyes were bright, proud. That person became her family, her mentor, her mother in every way that mattered. I paused. Let the words settle. That 15-year-old girl was me. The auditorium went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Dad stood up halfway. Mom pulled him back down, both of them staring, mouths open. Madison looked like she wanted to disappear through her chair. Students around her whispered, pointed. Her friends looked confused, concerned. "I'm here today because Dr. Eleanor Smith," I gestured to Eleanor, "didn't give up on me when my own family did. She taught me that rejection isn't the end. It's a beginning." More whispers, spreading like wildfire. The Second Chances Scholarship was born from that experience. It exists for students who've been told they're not enough, who've been dismissed, abandoned, cast aside. I looked directly at Madison, made eye contact, because being rejected doesn't define you. What you do afterward does. Today, that scholarship has helped 47 students. My voice stayed level, clear. Students like the girl I used to be. A woman in the back whispered loudly, "Is that really her family?" I continued, professional, unshaken. I learned something important in those years after the storm. Family isn't always biology. Sometimes it's choice. Sometimes it's the people who choose you when others walk away. Eleanor wiped her eyes, smiled at me. "I learned that you don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need one person. One person who sees past the surface, past the accusations, past the lies." Madison's face crumpled. She looked down, shoulders shaking. Her friends had stopped whispering. They were staring at her now, connecting dots. And I learned, I gripped the podium, that success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building something meaningful despite them. Dad's hands were trembling. He looked like he wanted to run, leave, escape. Mom was crying silently, mascara running. So to the graduating class of Riverside State University, I leave you with this. Your worth is not determined by who stays. It's determined by how you grow after they leave. I paused. Let that land. You will face rejection, disappointment, people who underestimate you. That's guaranteed. I looked across the sea of graduates, young faces, hopeful. But you get to decide what happens next. You get to choose who you become. Standing ovation. Slowly at first. Then building. Students standing. faculty, families, not everyone. Dad stayed seated, pale, hands over his face. Mom stood mechanically, clapping weakly, tears streaming. Madison didn't move, sat frozen, staring at her lap. I stepped back from the podium. President Walsh was beaming. "Thank you, Ms. Sterling. That was powerful." I walked off stage, back into the wings, and I breathed. The ceremony continued. President Walsh returned to the podium, started calling names. I stayed backstage, watched through the gap in the curtains. The energy had shifted. Students walked across stage to receive diplomas, but the applause was distracted, uneven. People were still processing my speech, talking, pointing, checking their phones. Madison Sterling, Bachelor of Arts, Communications. Madison stood, walked to the stage. Her smile was tight, forced. Her hands shook as she accepted the diploma. The applause was thin, scattered. Some people clapped enthusiastically, her close friends probably, but others didn't clap at all, just watched, whispered. She walked off stage quickly, disappeared into the crowd of graduates. I saw her friends huddled around her, talking urgently. Madison shaking her head, trying to explain something, failing. Dad and Mom sat rigid, not talking, not moving, just staring straight ahead. After all the names were called, President Walsh closed the ceremony. "Congratulations to the class of 2026. Caps flew. Cheers erupted. Families rushed forward. I slipped out a side door, met Eleanor in the reception area outside the auditorium. "You did it," she said, hugged me tight. "I did." "How do you feel?" I thought about it. "Free?" David appeared. "Olivia, that was, wow." He looked flustered. "I had no idea. Your family? Are you okay?" "I'm fine. They're asking to see you." "Who?" "Your parents. They're at the side entrance. They want to talk." My stomach tightened. "Do I have to?" David shook his head. "Absolutely not. I can have security. No." I straightened. "I'll talk to them, on my terms, 5 minutes. That's it." Eleanor squeezed my hand. "I'll be right here." I walked toward the side entrance, toward the family I'd left behind 13 years ago. They stood by a pillar. Dad's face was gray, Mom's makeup smeared. Madison hovered behind them, eyes red. I stopped 3 feet away, professional distance. "You wanted to talk?" Dad's mouth opened, closed. "Olivia, we didn't know you'd be here." "I'm sure you didn't. You look," Mom's voice broke. "You look well." "I am well. Dr. Smith made sure of that." Eleanor had followed me, stood slightly behind, protective. Dad's eyes flicked to her, then away. "We owe you an apology." "You owe me a lot more than that." My voice was calm, level. "But an apology is a start." "We made a mistake," Mom said. "A terrible mistake. We should have listened." "You should have protected me. That's what parents do. They protect their children." I kept my hands at my sides, didn't cross my arms, didn't close off. "You chose Madison's lie over my truth. You called me sick, threw me out in a storm." Madison flinched, tears rolling down her face. "We were wrong," Dad said, his voice cracked. "I was wrong. I've got Olivia. I've regretted that night every day for 13 years. "Good." The word hung there, sharp. "Can we talk?" Mom reached toward me. "Privately? As a family?" "We're not a family." I said it gently, not cruel, just factual. "You made that clear 13 years ago." "But we can fix it," Dad said desperately. We want to fix it. Please." "There's nothing to fix. You made your choice. I made mine. We're done." "Olivia," Madison's voice, quiet, broken. "I'm sorry. I was 12. I was stupid. I didn't know. You were old enough to know what you were doing." David appeared with a folder. Olivia, these are the scholarship applications for next semester. President Walsh wanted you to have them before you left. He handed me the folder. Official university letterhead, my name, my title, photos of scholarship recipients, testimonials. Dad's eyes fixed on it. You really did all this? Yes, despite everything. Mom took the folder gently, opened it, read. Her face crumpled. 200 students? 47 so far, but we're expanding. You're a director? Senior director, as of last month. I took the folder back. I work with 5 universities. We've granted over $200,000 in scholarships to students from difficult situations. President Walsh joined us, oblivious to the tension. Ms. Sterling, that was the best keynote we've had in years. The students are still talking about it. Thank you, President Walsh. He turned to my parents. Are you Olivia's family? You must be so proud. Silence. They are, Eleanor said smoothly. Aren't you, Mr. Sterling? Dad's jaw worked. Yes, very proud. President Walsh beamed. Ms. Sterling is one of our most valued partners. Her program has changed lives, literally saved some of these kids. He shook my hand, walked away. Dad stared at me, really looked. We had no idea. You never asked. I kept my voice soft, not angry, just tired. You erased me, pretended I never existed. Why would you know? I tried to find you, Mom whispered. After the hospital, you disappeared. I changed my name legally, made it harder. I met her eyes. I needed you to not find me. I needed space to heal. Did you? Dad asked. Heal? Yes, no thanks to you. Madison's friends approached. 3 of them, looking uncomfortable. Madison? One girl touched her arm. Is that true? Is she really your sister? Madison nodded, couldn't speak. You said you were an only child. I know, You told everyone your sister died. Another friend's voice was cold. Last year, you said she died in a car accident when you were 12. My eyebrows rose. You told them I was dead? Madison's face flushed. I didn't. It was easier than explaining. Explaining what? The first friend demanded. That your family kicked her out? That you lied about her? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? The third friend looked at me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Thank you, I said quietly. They walked away. Madison stood there, alone, watching them leave. Madison, Mom started. Don't. Madison's voice was sharp. Just don't. She looked at me, really looked. I wanted to tell them so many times. I wanted to tell everyone the truth, but I was scared. Scared of what? That they'd hate me. That everyone would hate me. She wiped her eyes. They were right to. I deserve it. Madison. I stepped closer. I don't hate you. I forgive you. For my own peace, not yours. But I don't want a relationship. I need you to respect that. Can't we just... No. Firm. Clear. You made choices for 13 years. Choices to keep lying. To keep me erased. That's not childhood stupidity. That's who you became. Madison sobbed. Mom pulled her close. I looked at Eleanor. Can we go? Yes. She linked her arm with mine. Let's go home. We walked away, didn't look back, didn't look. Behind us, I heard Madison crying, heard Dad saying my name, weak, desperate. I kept walking. Okay, I need to pause here for just a second. That moment, standing there, watching Madison realize she couldn't lie her way out. It was 13 years in the making. If you've ever had to set boundaries with toxic family members, drop a comment. Boundaries matter. And if this story is resonating with you, please subscribe. I share these stories because I know someone out there needs to hear them. Now let me tell you what happened in the weeks that followed. The week after graduation, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Voicemails from Dad. Please call back. We need to talk. I'm so sorry. We're so sorry. Just, please. Emails from Mom. Long, rambling, full of apologies and excuses. We were under so much stress. Madison was going through a phase. We didn't understand what we were doing. I didn't respond. Not yet. Work kept me busy. Scholarship applications poured in. The ceremony had gone viral. Not the whole thing, but my speech. Someone had recorded it, posted it to social media. 50,000 views, then 100,000. Comments flooded in. This woman is incredible. Family isn't blood. It's who shows up. I cried. This is exactly what I needed to hear. But also, anyone know if this is real? What university was this? Need to know what happened to the sister. I ignored them, focused on work. Then an email came from one of Madison's former friends. Subject line, "You deserve to know." Inside, screenshots, group chats. Madison's friends discussing her, distancing themselves. One message stood out. "I can't believe she lied about her sister being dead. That's psychotic." Another. "I'm uninviting her from my wedding. I don't want drama." Madison's carefully constructed social life was crumbling. Part of me felt bad, a small part. The larger part felt nothing, just relief. Eleanor and I had dinner, quiet, comfortable. "How are you processing?" she asked. "I don't know, I paused, searched for the word. "Free, like I finally put down something heavy I didn't realize I was carrying." "You did well, Olivia. Handled it with grace." "They want to reconcile." "Do you?" I thought about it. Really thought. "No, I don't think I do." She nodded, squeezed my hand. "That's okay. You're allowed to walk away." 2 weeks later, Dad showed up at my office. My assistant buzzed me. "Olivia, there's a Mr. Sterling here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment, but he says he's your father." My stomach tightened. "Give me 5 minutes, then send him in." I closed my laptop, straightened my desk, breathed. Dad walked in looking 10 years older, gray hair, lines around his eyes, shoulders slumped. "Thank you for seeing me," he said. "I have a meeting in 20 minutes." "I understand." He sat across from my desk, formal, like a job interview. "Olivia, I need to say this. We were wrong. I was wrong. What I did to you, what I said to you, it was unforgivable." "Yes, it was." Madison told us the truth. Finally, last week, she broke down, confessed everything, the lies, the manipulation, all of it. 13 years too late. I know it doesn't fix anything. His hands shook. He clasped them together. "But I need you to understand. We've been living with this guilt. Every day, every single day. We look at that empty room, the photos we took down, and we know we destroyed something we can never get back." "You're right. You can't. Can you forgive us?" I leaned back, considered. "Forgiveness isn't the issue, Dad. Trust is, and that's broken, shattered. You believed Madison's lies over my truth. You called me sick. You threw me out in a storm. I know. You don't know." My voice stayed calm, quiet. "You don't know what it's like to be 15 and homeless in a storm. To be told by your own father that you're too broken to love. You'll never know." Tears rolled down his face. "What can I do? Tell me what I can do." "Nothing. There's nothing you can do. It's too late." 3 days later, an email arrived. Subject, "I'm sorry." From Madison. I almost deleted it, finger hovering over the trash icon, but curiosity won. "Olivia, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve your attention, but I need to say this. I was jealous, so jealous of you. You were smart and capable and people liked you without you even trying. I had to work for every bit of attention I got. And it still wasn't enough. You were always better. When Jake liked you instead of me, I snapped. I planned the whole thing, the screenshots, the bruise, everything. I knew Mom and Dad would believe me. They always did. I didn't think it would go that far. I didn't think Dad would actually throw you out. When I saw you walking into the storm, I felt sick, but I couldn't take it back. I was too scared, too proud. I've spent 13 years lying, to everyone, to myself. I told people you died because it was easier than admitting what I did. I destroyed your life, I know that, and I destroyed my own too. I have no real friends now. Nobody trusts me. I lost my job offer because someone from graduation told HR about my family situation. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm just asking you to know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Madison. I read it twice. Saved it. Didn't respond. 4 days later, she sent another. Then another. Each one more desperate. More broken. After the 5th email, I replied. Short. Final. Madison, I accept that you were young, but you had 13 years to correct it. You chose to keep me erased. I forgive you for my own peace, but I don't want contact. Please respect that. She stopped emailing. My speech went more viral than I'd expected. A local news station reached out, wanted to interview me about the scholarship program. I agreed, but only if we focused on the students, not my personal story. The segment aired. Local researchers' Second Chances program helps students in crisis. They interviewed 3 scholarship recipients. One girl said, "This program saved my life. Literally, I was about to drop out. Ms. Sterling's team gave me hope." Applications tripled. Funding requests poured in. 3 more universities wanted to partner. Education journals called. Would you write about your methodology? A national conference invited me to speak. Equity in education, closing the gap. David knocked on my office door. You're famous now. How does it feel? Weird. I just wanted to help some kids. You're doing more than that. You're changing systems. The State Board of Education sent a commendation, recognition for outstanding contribution to educational equity. And through it all, I saw the ripple effects. Madison's social media went quiet. No more posts. Her accounts eventually went private. Dad sent one final email. We're proud of you, even if we have no right to be. I didn't respond. Mom tried calling once. I didn't answer. Old family friends reached out on LinkedIn. Awkward messages. Heard about your work. So impressive. Maybe we could catch up? I declined politely. Meanwhile, Eleanor was accepted as a keynote speaker at a national conference. Come with me, she said, as my guest and colleague. I'd love to. We flew to Chicago, presented together, stayed in a nice hotel, talked about everything except my biological family. You've built a good life, Eleanor said over dinner. You should be proud. I am, because of you. No, she shook her head. Because of you. I just gave you a chance. You did the rest. 1 year after Madison's graduation, my life looked completely different. The Second Chances Scholarship was now in 10 universities. We'd helped 83 students stay in school, stay alive, stay hopeful. I was promoted to senior director, got a corner office, a raise, recognition from people whose names I'd only read in textbooks. I dated someone, a kind man named Marcus who worked in public policy. It didn't work out, but it ended amicably. I was learning that not all endings had to be painful. Eleanor turned 60. We threw a party. Colleagues, friends, students she'd mentored over the years, people who loved her, chose her, built family around her, I gave a toast. To the woman who taught me that family is built, not born. Thank you for choosing me. She cried, happy tears. I thought about my biological family sometimes, not often, not painfully, just thoughts. Wondering where they were, if Madison had gotten help, if Dad still sent unanswered emails. They sent a Christmas card. No return address. Just signatures. Richard, Patricia, Madison. No message, no explanation. I put it in a drawer, didn't throw it away, didn't respond. Just acknowledged it existed. I spoke at another graduation. Different university, different students. But similar message. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors you control. Afterward, a young woman approached, 20 years old, tearful. That was my story too. My family kicked me out at 16. I thought I was alone. You're not alone, I told her. You're surviving. That's more than enough. She hugged me, tight. Thank you. I drove home that evening, to the house I shared with Eleanor, my real mother, and felt something I hadn't felt in years, complete peace. People ask me if I regret that night, the storm, the pain, the hospital. I don't, because it led me here, to this life, this work, this family I chose. Not every story has a happy ending like mine. I know that. I'm lucky. Dr. Eleanor Smith found me, chose me, saved me. Not everyone gets that. But everyone gets to set boundaries. Everyone gets to decide who has access to them. You don't owe toxic people your presence. Not even if they're family. Especially not if they're family. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You can forgive someone for your own peace while still keeping them out of your life. Those aren't contradictory. They're both necessary sometimes. I learned that blood doesn't make family. Choice does. Consistency does. Showing up does. Eleanor showed up every single day for 13 years. She earned the title Mom. My biological parents? They showed up once, failed, never tried again. That tells you everything. I learned that success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building something meaningful despite them. The scholarship program wasn't revenge. It was purpose. It was turning my pain into something that helps others. That's the difference. Revenge seeks to hurt. Purpose seeks to heal. I learned that your worth isn't determined by who stays. It's determined by how you grow after they leave. Some people will always underestimate you, reject you, tell you you're too broken, too sick, too much or not enough. That's their limitation, not yours. You get to decide what happens next. You get to choose who you become. I chose to become someone who helps kids like me. Kids who need a second chance. Kids who deserve to know they're worth saving. That's my legacy. Not the family that threw me away, but the family I built afterward. So that's my story. The storm that almost destroyed me became the catalyst for everything I built. I'm 28 now, same age as when I started telling you this, but I feel older, wiser, whole. My parents' names are still in my phone. I haven't deleted them, but I haven't called either. They exist in my past, not my present, and definitely not my future. Madison sends me a message every few months, short, apologetic. Thinking of you, hope you're well. I read them, don't respond. Maybe someday I will, maybe not. Either way is okay. Dr. Eleanor Smith is Mom now, not Dr. Smith, just Mom. She's the emergency contact on every form. The person I call when something good happens, the one whose opinion matters. Blood didn't make her my mother, choice did. 13 years of showing up, of believing in me, of loving me when I couldn't love myself. That's family. Every year, on October 15th, the anniversary of that storm, I drive past my old house, not to punish myself, not to wallow, just to remember. I park across the street, look at those windows, that door, and I think, that girl survived. She survived being called sick, being thrown away, being told she was too broken to love. And she didn't just survive. She thrived.